Welcome, welcome, welcome to this episode of the Ian Fritz Show. We have a fun one. We have the fifth worst thing about college football, the playoff format. Let's get into it.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable. 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the misfield.
The fifth worst thing about college football, the playoff format. There's some issues with it. We'll get into it. Why is it an issue? How do we fix it? You guys know the drill by now. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Leave a comment down below. You guys have seen the mug. Gonna mention it one more time here. If you want one, leave a comment down below. We'll get you one. We'll get you one. Okay, the playoff format. How is it cracking the top five worst things in college football? How does it crack the top five? How does it get in that coveted spot? Right at number five, you don't want to be too bad, but you also want to be bad enough to where you could possibly get fixed. And that's why it's number five. It's bad enough to where it's getting some recognition. Hey, I'm ruining the sport a little bit. There's something wrong with me. Come fix me. So it's teasing you a little bit. It's like, hey, come fix me. But it's not like number three, where it's like, hey, okay, this is a glaring issue. We got to really hammer this one home. So it's coming in at number five. I think it's a perfect spot for it. If you disagree with me, you can't disagree with me yet because you haven't seen the other three or four above it. So why is it an issue? What is the actual current format right now that we have in college football? Well, as you know, 2024 is the first year of the 12 team playoff, which I'm a fan of. Now, I would probably prefer an 18 playoff, but it's better. I think the 12 team is better than a 14 playoff. I've explained that in a big thread on my Twitter. If you want to go find that, go do so. I may retweet it when we get closer to the season. Who knows? But the format for the 12 team playoff right now is a 5 auto bid and 7 at large bids. Now, it could change. They're going through ideas right now in their little meetings with each conference commissioner with the big dogs over at their conferences. And if you listen to the last episode, go ahead and do that because these tie in a little bit. If we dissolve all these conferences, boom, auto bids, poof, they go away. We no longer have an auto bid. It's no longer a word in our vernacular. That's a big word right there. If you don't know what vernacular means, pause this video, look that up, and you'll say, hey man, Ian, that guy, he's a smart dude. He's using the word vernacular. I learned that back in elementary school. No big deal. No big deal. Let's move right along. If we dissolve the conferences, auto bids also go away and we just have the 12 best teams. Boom. That is fantastic. Wouldn't that be great? That would be so fantastic. I would love that. Now, right now we have conferences, so in my mind, the at large or the auto bids are probably not going to go away. And they're probably not going to go away because the group of five teams are going to want at least one team in the top 12. And I would venture to guess that most likely maybe once out of every 10 years, that's when a group of five team would get into the playoff without an auto bid. So you had Cincinnati get in there one time in 10 years with four teams. I would venture to guess that that would happen one time in 10 years, the same amount of time it happened with the 14 playoff. If when we're going to 12 team playoff, if there's no auto bids, I would think a Tulane could get in there, maybe sneak in there as an 11 seed or something like that, but maybe once every 10 years. It's not going to happen every year, but with an auto bid, Tulane could get in every year. And I don't think that is necessarily good for the playoff or good for the sport in this time that we're in. I think we need the 12 best teams. And frankly, most of the time, most likely, an 8-4 SEC team is going to beat a 12-0 Tulane team. That's just how it is. And that's just the state of college football. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm okay. I'm okay with an 8-4 team getting in over a 12-0 Tulane. I'm okay with that. I am completely fine with that. If we get the best 12 teams in that playoff, consider me happy. Now, how are we going to get those 12 teams in there? That's the issue. That's the issue. These 5 auto bids, not a fan. Not a fan. You can't have an auto bid for a group of 5 team. We shouldn't have it. Our sport should not come down to auto bids. You should play a tougher schedule if you want to get in there. Tulane, get out of your conference. Go independent, like a Notre Dame, and just schedule big time opponents. Now they may not want to schedule you, and that's tough. That's tough. But it's not really the big power conference, the big dogs. It's not their problem anymore. I'm sorry. And Tulane fans, if you see this, you may get mad at me, but you're a fan of Tulane, so I mean, I can't really say anything about you. But you guys got a good coach down there. Tulane's probably going to be a pretty good team this year. They got a big game in week 2 or 3 against OU, so that should be a good test for them this year. I don't know why I'm hating on Tulane. Tulane's a good program. I'm sorry, Tulane Green Wave. I love your logo. Anyways, let's get back to the auto bids. We got to get rid of auto bids. We should just have 12 teams. You're getting in from whatever ranking, whatever system we use to rank those 12 teams. If it's a committee, you're getting in because the committee thinks you're one of the 12 best teams. That should be how it works. There should be no auto bids. One, the auto bids are for the conference champs. So you're going to have the SEC champ. Boom, you get in, you get a bye. Okay, okay, that's fine. But if the SEC champ gets they're already going to be a top 4 team at SEC champion. They're already going to be a top 4. Why do they need an auto bid? That makes no sense. Now, if the auto bid was like for the SEC runner up to put them above a second group of 5 team, I don't know how that would work exactly. But the auto bid structure, as of now, it makes no sense. Your conference champions are already going to be in the top 12, if not the top 6. So it doesn't make any sense to have those be auto bids. They're already in. They're already in. Get rid of the auto bids. Now, another issue with the playoff format right now is we've got closed doors. Doors are closed. You've got that committee doing who knows what behind those doors. They may be playing toss it around. That's not a game. Toss it around. Cornhole. Boom. And if you want to start calling cornhole toss it around, credit me. Credit me. I think toss it around might be a better game. Might be a better name for it. If someone knows why it's called cornhole, let me know in the comments. I'm not sure why it's called cornhole. Anyways, we've got closed doors. They could be playing toss it around back there, or they could be just playing hangman. Who knows on the whiteboard? We don't know what they're doing. Maybe they play hangman. Maybe they play tic tac toe to decide who's going to be the 6th best team. For all we know, that could be what happened last year. That could be why ESPN decided to have Alabama get in over an undefeated Florida State. Maybe that's what happened. I'm not sure, and who knows really what's sure. But we need to have an open door. So let's get into how we can fix this stuff. Another issue with the current format right now, before I get into how we fix it, there's no schedule right now for the first round of the playoff. So yes, we have those first round games on campuses, which will be electric. That will be one of the coolest things college football has ever had. Consider me bought into that. I love that. However, those games as of right now have no way to be on TV. Nobody has said, "Hey, I'll take it. Give it to me. I'm going to be on that. I'll be on the call." Right now they can't be broadcasted. So if you're going to the game, good for you. You'll be able to see it, but the whole world won't. And that's an issue because we want the whole world to see that. We want the whole world to see college football playoff games at college stadiums. Wow. Doesn't that sound fantastic? That sounds great. That sounds great. So that's an issue. Now, clear solution for that one, get somebody to broadcast the game. Now, I don't know how that happens, but it should happen, and somebody should pick it up because I think it's going to be a moneymaker. But what do I know? I'm not in the TV business. I'm in the YouTube business. I'm not really. I just do this for fun. But I could be if you guys start buying these mugs. Anyways, how do we fix college football playoff format? Number one, you got to get rid of the auto bids altogether. I talked about it a little bit earlier. It waters down the playoff if we have auto bids for a group of 5 teams, especially if you give it to an SEC champion, makes no sense. So just do away with it altogether. Conferences dissolving again would do away with the auto bids because everybody would be under one umbrella and you're just taking the 12 best teams. And again, records don't equal best, right? You may be 6-6, but you could very well be better than a 9-3 team pretty easily. Now, a lot of people aren't ready for that conversation, so we'll have it another time. We'll have it another time when people mature and they start using their brains. The biggest one, the biggest way to fix this, other than getting rid of the auto bids, which I think will happen, and I think it could happen in the next few years, we need to be able to see the committee. They need to have it on TV. I don't care when it's on. I don't care what's going on. other than somebody outside of the ESPN executives, the corporate people in the world of college football, outside of those dudes in that room, we need to be able to watch them talk. We need to be able to see and hear what they are saying, those conversations, whether they are playing throat around in that room, whether they are playing hangman, and maybe they just need to play those games for a break. I'm all for breaks. I'm all for breaks. If anybody knows me, you know I love a good break. But they also need to get their job done and get their work done. You also know I love you got to get the work done, and then you can play hangman. Then you can play throw it around. But you got to get the work done, and we need to be able to see that work get done. It needs to be a checks and balances. Right now, it's nothing. It's nothing. They can do whatever they want, and that's an issue. That's an issue. There needs to be some transparency with the ranking system in college football. It just needs to be transparent because there are dudes in that room. They could have ulterior motives. They could be getting paid under the table. There should be shady stuff going on under the table, and there probably is. And in 20 years' time, we'll probably find out about it. There'll probably be there will probably be reports about it, and we'll be like, "Hey, you guys were right." Ian Fritz show. I remember fifth worst thing about college football. I remember that episode when he said we may find out about this, and 20 years later, here we are, and he was right. And I'll be sitting there 20 years from now saying, "Hey, I did. I called that. And that feels pretty good." But we need to have some open doors for the playoff format. We need to have some open doors. Open those doors up, and we'll be able to watch the committee rank those teams. We may not like what they have to say, but at least we'll be able to know why they did what they did instead of just coming after. Why did you do? Why do you have Alabama ahead of Florida State? Well, we looked at it and we just did it, and that's not really good enough because after the fact, you can say whatever you want and you can't really change it. But in the moment we come after them. That doesn't mean you just said something that is a complete lie, Mister Boo, Mister Corrigan. That never happened this year. And if it does, if that does happen, we can tell them as college football fans, as a community of college football, we need to come together and demand we have some transparency in the ranking system of college football. We need to demand that. We need it now, and we need it for the future of college football. And I don't know if it's just me, but I would sit down and watch those guys discuss college football and who's going to be where for hours. I think that would be riveting TV. And some of you may disagree. You think that's be kind of boring, Ian. I don't really care, and you're wrong. And you're going to need to admit it because you're going to need to sign the petition that I get going, so we can see these guys play throw it around back there or hangman on their little breaks after they've done their work. We need to be able to see that. So get rid of the auto bids. Let us be able to see the rankings being done, and then I think we'll have a nice playoff format. You have the on-campus games. I think those are going to be just monumental for college football sports, and I think it's going to be real fun. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, hit subscribe, comment down below if you disagree with me, and comment down below if you would prefer cornhole to be called throw it around. I would. So thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Bye.
Snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable.
45-40, 45-50, 45.